here with a tutorial on new projects, and just going to explain big picture wise what we're looking at in the new projects module of the Property Consortium, and then we're going to dive into a project. So unlike a normal listing site, you'll see here that the project information is data rich. It's totally focused on investment. So if we look at some of the details we've got at hand, we've got details of discounts that are available where there's projects below registered market valuation. We've got details that indicate price point, cash flow on a weekly basis. So if we buy this property today within this project and it settles today if it's completed, or in the future if it's off the plan, what the weekly cash flow will be when you include all of the costs, property management, and then financing the project to 100%. So borrowing 100% of the money because we've got equity elsewhere in our portfolio. So this gives us a picture of cash flow and then a long-term view. And the other thing we can do here is we can use a slider up in the top right corner here, and we can look at the numbers based on anywhere from 1 year right out to 20 years to give us a picture of cash flow and growth as well. So if we have a situation like if we take this property in Randolph Street in Woolston, where it's $51,000 below valuation, going to be completed December 2026, price point for $469. It's currently negative cash flow, about $64 a week. And so what the Property Consortium does is calculate, okay, when will that break even based on rent going up and costs going up at the rate of inflation, and values and property rates rising at the rate of the suburbs capital growth. And if you look down here, 20-year capital growth rate of 4.8%. We take all of the long-term growth averages when we look at the long-term equity and value growth calculations, and that data comes from the REINZ. So it says, hey, it's going to grow at 4.8%, and guess what? By year 20, we will have gained $1.35 million worth of equity by purchasing this property. We will have cash flow of about 12 grand a year by then. But guess what? It's going to cost you $10,948 to get to break even. So if we buy this property, we know, yep, great, it's $469 to buy, but we need to budget or put aside $11,000 to fund that shortfall before it gets to break even. In this case, by the time it gets to break even, we still would have had capital growth of $289,000 in terms of our net equity gain. So discount, capital growth, less cash cost gives us a net picture. So it's like somebody saying, hey, if you give me $10,948, I'll give you $289,000 back by the time we get to year 7. So it gives you a bit of an idea as to what those break-even points look like. And then when we get projects like these projects here, where there's 20K cashbacks, we put those cashbacks into the cash flow forecast. And instead of this property being negative $20,000 before it gets to break even, this project, in about 5 years' time, it's now break even from the get-go because that cashback offsets that cost. So let's dive down into one of those projects in more detail. So in a Property Consortium project, you'll see some standard things and some extra things. We've got a video in most projects which gives you details on the project, on the infrastructure, on the area. And it's really worth watching. It's Campbell Venning narrating that and with his investor hat on, looking at why this area makes sense to invest. You've got some key metrics around the floor area and bathrooms and beds and stuff, a bit of an investment commentary, normal images, and then if we scroll down, we will get to the good stuff. So we do a whole lot of research around the location. What are the characteristics? What are the infrastructure and development projects that are help driving it? What are the nearby amenities? And what are the growth potentials and trends? And so links to all of the research, so you can check it out for yourself. And then when we dive down into, okay, where is the project located? Most importantly, it's not just about the location, but it's also about what are the amenities around it, because if my market is families, mum and dad and 2 kids or 3 kids or what have you, 3-bedroom townhouse, I want to know there's schools in the area, healthcare facilities, public transport, etc. So the Property Consortium wraps all of that information around each of those projects so you can easily see across each of those categories, along with the street view of the area. So you can just literally walk down the street if you want. So, you know, the days of having to fly to an area and to have to drive to an area to see what the neighborhood's like, they're kind of gone. I mean, it's nice to do that, absolutely. but not being on site doesn't prevent you from having a look at the project and having a look at the area and getting a feel for the surroundings and getting a feel for what's going on. And then we've got the normal mapping tools that are available as well, so you can really easily see the location and the surrounding picture. Okay, cool. So what else can I do? I can request a purchase contract if I want to request a contract for one of these properties, and this allows me to select right down to a specific stock level, so that I can pinpoint which lot number I want at which price point. And so a bit of a tip there, if you use the Property Consortium, what you can do is under your purchase profile, go in there. If you load up and pre-save your purchase profile in this area, in your membership area, then when you go to request a contract, it's really simple because that information then is pre-filled, and you don't have to sit there filling in boxes and filling in forms. You can just step through that request contract form and have that all pre-populated, then submit and send it off once you've chosen the specific property. So it saves you a whole bunch of time. You can contact our team, or you can say, yep, I think I like this, but I'm not sure. I want to add it to my potential projects list. I'm going to choose a 3-bedroom option, and again, you can go into the specific options that are available, and you want to say, yep, I'm adding that one to my watch list. And that now adds that to the potential projects area in my portfolio, and I'll just show you where that is. If I go into my portfolio, I go to potential projects, it's now added that there, and if I want to, I can toggle to include in properties owned, and now it'll now add that to the properties owned section of my portfolio. It'll tuck it in down the bottom there as a potential project, and I can now drop that into the project and have a look at the actual impact on the project, and also on my portfolio and on the cash flow, etc. So that makes it easy for me to do that comparison. Okay, so what else about a project have we got at our fingertips now? We can take it directly to our portfolio without putting it on the potential projects list if we want to just look at it directly in the portfolio. We can use the documents area to download details of the project, from plans to rental appraisals to consolidated PDF brochure of the project, so we can have a look at the information we're using to do the calculations for things like the investment analysis, so you understand where that information's come from. So the great thing about the cash flow analysis in here is we've pre-analysed the property. It's based on borrowing 100%. It's based on all of the costs in there. And it's based on having management fees as well. So you can just jump straight into that cash flow report. You can look at the interest only or the principal and interest view, and you can scroll down and see the assumptions on a year-by-year basis for 20 years. And you've got a picture here of year 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. Or you can view all 20 years by expanding that report to show you each of the individual years and the cost assumptions that have been made. The other thing that's really helpful with this is you can go and say, okay, that's great, but I've got a bit of a different view. I want to go in there, I want to put in a 20% deposit, I want to change the costs, I want to change the mortgage interest rate, etc., etc. And you can play with all that information, and when you save that, it actually then saves a customized view of the cash flow analysis for that project. So every time you come into here, you see your own report, not our report, so you've got the ability to customize the information to suit you. You've got details on where the project sits right now in terms of the property clock, and right now it's almost at the bottom of the market, and obviously a great time to buy, but that's where the Hobsonville market is positioned within the Auckland market right now. You've got details of market analysis, you've got details of infrastructure projects and how they impact the project in this area, and it really allows you to dive into the long-term picture. So in terms of median sale price going back 30 years, the number of sales per year, you can see this area has grown dramatically in recent years as it's expanded, as the Air Force Base was turned from Air Force land into a whole new township, if you like. Time to sell, and we can play with the 30-year view, and we can bring it back to the 5-year view and see what the most recent trends are. And we can do the same with rents and bonds as well, so we understand what's happening rental market-wise, what's happening bond-wise, and how many applications are there on average for each rental property listing. So the purpose of the tools here at the Property Consortium are really to make it easy for you to understand and research and check out a project, not just visually or design-wise, but to be able to easily understand exactly what's on offer. And so, again, a feature I skipped over for looking at a specific unit, often getting a document of 60 pages of floor plans is quite overwhelming. We pull those apart, and if we're looking at unit 12 here, we just got to open up the floor plan, and there it is right there. So we know exactly what it looks like, exactly what we're getting, exactly what the property looks like, and then there's no surprises. So really makes it easy. We do the legwork for you so that you don't need to do the legwork, because we've done all of the research and put it all together in one place. So that's a tour of what a project looks like within the Property Consortium platform, and I really encourage you to dive in and play and research and get to understand the country, different styles of projects, and all of the financial options that are available based on where you invest and what type of project you invest in.